Hi, everybody. We're here in another episode at home with Vanessa Maggi, and I have the pleasure of inviting somebody that I've known for a long time. And she's a great example of the community that we have in Miami Shores, Leticia Monteagudo.
Thank you so much.
And I just saw you at the Greater Chamber of Commerce Network breakfast that we had a week ago, and those are once a month, and they're amazing. And she was the speaker, and you were phenomenal.
Oh, thank you
So
much.
I was like, I need to bring her to the show, and we can talk about what you do, which she's really good at.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Challenges that I have is educating people in insurance. No one jumps up and says, oh my God, I signed the best insurance policy today. Let's celebrate. And because you are signing a legal binding document that says, I'm going to cover these perils, you need to make sure what are those perils.
For sure. And I don't think a lot of people read between the fine print.
It's not really fine print. It's right there in your exclusions.
So they don't read it.
They don't read a period. They just read the first page, declaration page.
Yes.
How much is it? That's really the bottom line. And let me sign here.
I agree. I got 100% because that's what I get from my
There's
my
no
clients.
small print. It's in there.
Yeah.
You just have to.
They just go through
Yeah.
the premiums. Oh my God, this one is 8, the other one's 10, the other one's 12. Well, let me pick
What's
the
the
one.
difference?
Yeah, but they just don't.
Yeah.
And they're like, Vanessa, I want to do this one because, they're making this big purchase and most likely they put a 20, 30% down payment or it's a cash deal. So for them, it's just all numbers at that point.
Of course. That's a good point.
Yeah, because I see it. And, the mortgage lenders that this is going to be your payment. So they're just looking at numbers.
Well, that's a good thing
Yeah.
because if they're looking at numbers, we want to get the best premium that has the most coverage. And if they cannot escrow it or pay it in full, we'll finance it for them.
Oh, that's great. I know you mentioned that. So tell me a little bit about how that works.
It's so easy. I want to finance my premium. The carriers that we use that do the financing only require 20% down of that premium.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the rest is split through the whole 12-month term,
Okay.
making it a lot easier for you to afford your insurance.
And you can do that at the time of before closing, obviously, because insurance has to be bought.
Of course.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a lot. I'm very resourceful.
Yeah.
And I actually go really above and beyond for every client that I bind because I'm also licensed in Florida. So every policy that has my producer code and license, I'm responsible for.
Of course. Okay, and tell me things that people should be aware or alert when they're binding a policy. Like if somebody lives on the water.
Right. So somebody lives in the water, which is most of the south coast, the Golden Coast of Florida, which is beautiful coastal homes. You have a seawall, and you have more than likely a dock. Whether
Yes.
you own a marine vessel or not, the dock is there. So I come from a risk environment that focuses on 3 rings of risk assessment. One is the physical, exterior risk, then the operational risk, and then the strategic risk. So when I look at properties, the first ring is the exterior, right? So if there's a hurricane and there's big waves and there's a category 5 with high winds, what is the first impact of that property that's going to receive those elements? It's your seawall and it's the dock.
Yes.
And you could have, the client may feel, well, I have property insurance. When the agent never told them that the seawall and the dock, it's actually an exclusion. So one of the things that I look at when I look at coastal homes is are those 2 elements covered in that property?
And you can cover them? There's insurance
Absolutely.
for that? Okay. Okay.
Absolutely. It's the same carrier. If it's not there, you ask the carrier to please endorse the policy and add it. It will probably increase the premium just a little bit, but the peace of mind is there.
Of course. I mean, a seawall can be $100,000.
Or more.
And your dock, $20,000, $30,000 that we're talking about. It's very expensive. I'm talking about coastal homes, waterfront homes. You also do marine insurance for boats and all of that? or-
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
Because
we-
not everybody does that.
Oh yeah, we do marinas.
okay.
The actual entire marina.
Yes.
So when we do marinas, there's a lot of policies. I won't get into the end, but there's environmental pollution policies that they have to have, GLs that they have to have. And then what the marina has to and should require from the boat owners is that they have their own boat owners
Yes,
insurance.
insurance for sure.
So when catastrophe comes, right, we don't know, that boat is covered.
Yeah.
Now, certain marinas are designed for category 5
Okay.
and some are not. And as a boat owner, you have to understand, I'm storing my boat here. This is a category 5 marina. sort of hurricane
Yeah,
protection.
that's protected. Good. And we talked a little bit about, I don't know if you want to mention anything else on residential, because I wanted to jump into commercial as well.
Okay, so residential and commercial,
Mm-hmm.
if you're buying a property in Miami Shores and you want to redo the entire house,
Yes.
which is happening a
A
lot more
lot.
often,
Yeah, everybody wants new construction now.
which is
Yes.
great, it looks beautiful. The general contractor more than likely is not going to offer you a builder's risk.
Mm-hmm.
The builder's risk is going to come when you're going to get that loan from the bank. The bank wants to secure that where you're building is going to be insured, or you yourself. And builder's risk is completely different than your traditional homeowners. So builder's risk covers materials, vandalism, theft, when you have the new AC put in, when you have windows put in with the ceiling fans, the kitchen, and all that. Under a builder's risk policy, all that is covered.
Covered.
Absolutely. And there's also extensions. So let's say my new construction went beyond the 12-month term. Well, I can extend that.
Okay. How expensive is that? Is that
It's not. It's actually not expensive at all, and it covers hurricane and wind coverage. What I do need is proof that there is a plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
There is a work scope in place.
Sure.
Because if not, then everyone will get builder's risk and say that they're remodeling.
How many carriers do you work with? Because a lot of us that own a residential home, they're constantly getting, oh, your policy has been canceled. So and so is going to take it over. This carrier is no
Acquisitions.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, so acquisitions happen all the time. We currently right now work with 112 carriers. That number changes all the time because we either get appointed or we go through the surplus lines. So there's something called admitted market. So I can only sell that that carrier through that admitted market. Or there's surplus lines where we have an open plethora of selections of carriers. Lloyd's of London is one of my favorites because Lloyd's of London has hundreds of syndicates and they have different programs for different homeowners. Not every policy is a cookie cutter as your neighbor,
Sure.
and not every coverage is the same. So that's where my work comes in, as yours comes in
Yes.
in selling or listing a home. And the bottom line is that I love what I do and I provide the best coverage and the best premium for the insured.
Perfect. And you do commercial as well.
And
Buildings.
I love commercial.
Okay.
So I have a very solid construction background from my family. And I can just look at a home, at an image. I can tell you what type of roof they have, what kind of elements they have that we have to complete an application. In fact, in my office, they say, call Letty, ask Letty.
Yeah.
It's just, I love it. I love the commercial part of it. And commercial policies, depending who you are the owner or you're the one leasing the commercial property?
Sure.
So it all depends.
So what's something that you will say homeowners overlook when they come into getting a policy?
I believe that homeowners overlook the fact that every renewal is an opportunity to get a requote. And the requote is very important because that prior policy could have been written when the market was a hard market, when it was hard to place, when carriers were very strict about roofing conditions and so forth.
Sure.
And when the market has softened, we have a better pool of carriers that are willing to insure that same property for a less premium.
And you've seen that a lot, I'm sure.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, good. And what is something that our viewers will be surprised about you that you want to share?
I'm very creative. Apart from selling insurance and being very analytical and risk assessment focused on their policy, I'm very creative. I actually
It's
pull,
beautiful.
flowers.
Thank you.
Of course, that's for you.
Yes.
This is my artistic space. I put
Yeah.
classical music and I just design.
That's amazing. And your brain just keeps on going.
Oh, yeah.
I'm coming up with new solutions
Of
and new
course they
ideas.
do. Of
That's
course
when
they
it
do.
flows. You
Yes,
just
it
gotta
does.
flow.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, and that's what I like about you too. When you say, and that's something that we incorporate in our business too, just to come up with solutions.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, that's why we get hired, to come up with solutions to any problems or any situations, because sometimes they're not real problems, and dealing with emotions of people. I think that's as
True.
well huge. I don't know if you deal with that.
Of course.
Somebody's calling you frantic, my insurance went up, or they dropped me. What do you do?
Right.
You need to be able to handle that as well.
Handling is one thing, but you have to be there for the client. When a client calls me, I call right away. When
That's
the client emails me, I email right away. Communication is key for me because that's where it all starts.
Yes.
So, yeah, communication and just building that trust and the client feeling like she's got my back.
So I know you've been a long time resident of the Shores. I don't know, 15, 20 years.
More than that.
More than that. Okay. So how do you find your house in the Shores?
Gosh, that's a great question. And I feel privileged that I live in Miami Shores because it is
It's a great
beautiful
community. Yes.
Whenever I travel and I'm coming in with an Uber and I'm just looking around at the trees and the other homes, I feel so at peace. Like, this is such a beautiful neighborhood, you know. So how did I find the house? So I lived in North Miami for a while, and back in the times when Miami Herald used to have their Sunday publication, and I would go get a cup of coffee and read the classifieds, always looking for a property. I circled an address that had an open house in the Shores, and I said, "This is it." I just knew it.
Yeah. Amazing.
And I went to the open house and placed the offer, and became the property owner.
Great.
And then I got involved in all the construction.
Yes. Is this the house that you're living now?
No,
Oh, okay. That was another property.
that's another
Okay.
property. Still on the Shores.
Yes, because the house that she lives in, she was my neighbor, but you didn't live there. But this is how small and such a great community that we're in Miami Shores, that we've been here for so long, that was my first home. So we were neighbors back to back.
Really? I didn't know
Yes.
that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I
Wow.
lived. That was my first home ever in the Shores.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, so I learned something new
Yeah.
about you.
We always end with two questions. What's your favorite spot in Miami Shores? It could be a restaurant, a tree, whichever that you love. And who else will you suggest for me to invite to this show?
Okay, that's a great question. The spot in Miami Shores is so easy for me because after so many years, I end up doing the same thing. It's either an early morning walk when all the birds are out and you hear them and the squirrels are climbing on the trees, and I walk from my property all the way to the bay. So when I get to the bay, I do my yoga stretches, I salute the sun, take a deep breath, it's so beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And walk back. Sometimes I run into a peacock,
Yeah.
and that makes my day. So that is my favorite spot, that bay.
It's
that open
beautiful.
bay.
Yes. And in the morning it's gorgeous. I
It
agree.
is gorgeous.
100%.
Or when the evening it's almost settling in, I do the same walk, and then you see the little birds flying back to their nests. You know it's at the end of the day, and they're getting ready to reset and start their next day.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And who else, would you suggest for me to invite for the show?
Gosh, you've had so many invitees and great people. I would invite service providers.
Okay.
Those folks that have a presence, they have an involvement with property. How about an attorney that does title work?
Yeah.
You know, what are the things that could go wrong in a closing?
We can invite Marcy. Yeah, I have the perfect attorney for that.
You know, what are the things that can go wrong in a closing? For me, the closing is such an important element of a home buyer, and it's that experience in the closing that just makes it wow. Everything went smoothly. They have
And
all the documents.
And you're 100%, because maybe the transaction was amazing and there's a hiccup at the closing.
Correct.
And that's their last memory,
That's it.
which you don't want that to happen, obviously, because everything was great. But yeah, I
Exactly.
agree 100%. Yeah, good.
Thank you so much. This has
was
been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Of course.